effectiveness converts them into results. By themselves, they only set limits to what can be attained. Leadership goes beyond propounding theories. Leadership requires us to walk the talk. The world has moved from the agricultural age through the industrial age, and now we are in the knowledge-driven post-industrial age. In other climes, they are talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning. They are talking about robotics, process automation. In other nations, they are talking about edge computing, or quantum computing, of virtual reality and augmented reality, of blockchain, of Internet of Things, of big data. While here we are dissipating our useful time and energy talking about sedentary farmers, herdsmen clashes. Talking about our geography, of the geography of our places of worship. And our former colonial masters, they just elected Rishi Sunak, a first generation Hindu immigrant from Gujarati, as the Prime Minister of Britain, after their romance with tribalism with Liz Truss failed spectacularly. Right now, the Home Secretary of Britain is Suella Braverman of Indian descent. The Foreign Minister, James Cleverly, is of Sierra Leonean descent. The Secretary for International Trade, Kemi Badenoch, is of Nigerian extraction. What is important, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, is how to reposition the Nigerian nation. Because the trajectory of global growth is facing Africa, and Nigeria will make or mar that transition. And how do you go about it? The respect that the black man gains in the world is directly proportional to the performance of the Nigerian nation. If Nigeria fails, the black man has failed. And the global economy, sadly, is careering towards a recession. The Bank of England had predicted that the British economy is going to go through a very long, deep recession. In the upcoming winter, our former colonial masters are backsliding to the status of a third world nation because 70% of UK citizens will have a choice between heating or eating. That's how bad it is. I am an eternal optimist, but I am also a realist. We cannot shield ourselves from the global realities, from the challenges in Ukraine. We are going to go through some very rough waters in the coming months and years. This is why leadership is very crucial. 2023 will be a watershed election in the history of this country. As I've always said, we are not preparing for the Olympics, but an institution that thrives on the superiority of ideas and track records. And who has better track records and superiority of ideas than Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu? We just spoke about the Lagos deep sea port that is going to handle, is the largest in Nigeria and one of the largest deep sea ports in West Africa, and is going to handle about 2.4 million tonnage. per annum. 30 years ago, you will see Babala was sacrificing black cows along the shores of the Atlantic at the Bar Beach because of the quality of somebody's ideas. Here we have the Eco-Atlantic City that will give accommodation facilities to 250,000 Nigerians and 150 that will stream into work there. I spent a night in that edifice and it was amazing. I said, look, I'm in the middle of the ocean. Where are the marmites and the to come and torment us? So when I was to speak in Mina about 3 days ago, I was curious, what have they accomplished in Lagos in the agricultural scene? Because Lagos with 3,577 square kilometers is the smallest state in Nigeria. Borno with 70,868 square kilometers. You can put 21 of Lagos into Borno. I was curious, and lo and behold, the largest rice mill in Africa and the third largest in the world is located in Lagos at Imota on a sprawling 37 hectares of land, with the rice mill alone occupying 8.75 hectares that will provide direct jobs to 1,500 Nigerians and indirect jobs to 254,000 Nigerians. That will produce 2.8 million bags of 50 kg rice per annum. It's the product of somebody's imagination. Talk about the Aliko Dangote refinery. It's the largest single train refinery in the world that has the capacity to refine 650,000 liters, 650,000 barrels of oil per day. It's a $25 billion investment. As rightly encapsulated by Hadiza, we have a coastline of 850 kilometers. You have the option of siting it in Ondo, or Kitipupa has even oil. You have the option of siting it in Ogun. But because of the ambience, because of the enabling environment created by Bola Tinubu and his team, that edifice is in Lekki, in Lagos. And when he became the governor, Lagos was generating a paltry 600 million in the IGR. Now Lagos is generating per month 61 billion naira. And Lagos is the fifth largest economy in Africa and is projected to be the third largest economy by the end of the decade. When I first got a job in Lagos in 1993, I had to beg my mother for over 2 weeks before she allowed me to go. By then, the peer of Lagos on average knows that I was the beginning of wisdom. Before she allowed me to go, they had to assemble a crowd of Marabouts to pray for me. Not for me to progress in Lagos, but for my safety, for me to come back in one piece to Maiduguri. That was how bad things were. And I want you to compare the situation in Lagos 30 years ago and what it is now. Now Lagos is the safest city-state in West Africa, where people are coming from all over the world for holiday in Lagos. This is why leadership is very, very crucial for the growth. For the sake of the black man, what are the options available? You know, our political space is filled with a lot of very careful snails who do not want to disturb the apple cart, who do not want to ruffle feathers. We have to send jibes. We have to provoke conversation without descending so low as to engage in malicious concoctions or dubious aspersions on personalities. But what are the options available? I don't want to mention the Wole Wole incident. I respect Waziri Pombina. He is an elder statesman that I hold in the highest esteem. I will not question his nationality, no. He's a bona fide Nigerian. Peter Gringori Obi, I call him Gringori. Gringori is my friend, but Gringori has absolutely nothing to offer apart from dubious statistics. So the choice before us, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, is like the difference between daylight and darkness. And at the risk of sounding immodest, when the elder statesman Otumba Benga Daniel mentioned that there are 8,000 tractors in Nigeria, I'm a humble man. I don't like to blow my own trumpet. But you know, as captured in Chinua Achebe, things fall apart. You have to learn how to blow your own trumpet. Half of the agricultural equipment in Nigeria are in Borno. There are less than 50 combined harvesters in the whole of the Nigerian Federation, 25 are in Borno. I'm an agricultural economist by training, a banker by profession, and a politician by calling. And I invested in the entire agricultural value chain. Vivian Green said, you don't wait for the storm to be over. You learn to dance in the rain. So at the height of the Boko Haram, I embarked on an accusation blitzkrieg. I was able to assemble some of the brightest minds you could ever find in this country. Innocent Audu Obe, a very cerebral former minister, former PDP chairman. He was my honorary special advisor on agriculture. Engineer Ibrahim Ali, almost a genius, was my honorary special advisor on industries. We crisscrossed the whole world, from China to India to Vietnam to USA to Pakistan, everywhere, looking for the best equipment, intermediate equipment. Because entrepreneurial capitalism is embedded in the very psyche of the average Nigerian. But what our people are lacking is the wherewithal for you to place them on Jeffrey Sachs' first ladder of development. And the government has to play that role. We bought an array of agricultural goods, sprinkler irrigation, center pivot irrigation, drip irrigation, harvesters, diggers, tractors, so many items, too numerous to mention. And right now, my boss, my leader, who is head and shoulders above me in terms of intellect, capacity, and indefatigability, Professor Babagana Umara Zulu, is deploying those agricultural commodities for the good of our people, for us to generate jobs. And last night was one of my happiest nights this year. I met a very, very amazing personality. His name is Allen Ipechukwu Oyema. He's the chairman of Airpeace, one of the fascinating characters I have met in recent time, who believes in the Nigeria project. A very courageous man, one of the leading lights, very cerebral, very brilliant. He has 38 aircrafts in his airline company. It's the best. And mind you, 80% of his employees are not of Southeastern origin, no. He has employed people from all walks of life. And he's investing in the Nigeria project. If there's one man who deserves the highest national honor in this country, none deserve that honor greater than Allen Ipechukwu Oyema. Anyone who happens to know him, kindly extend my warmest felicitation and regards to him. We'll hold him in the highest honor. Infrastructure, you are our leaders. The professionals are our leaders. You are the one that will show the way for us. will be humble enough to interface with you, to cross-fertilize our ideas with you, so that no one is an island unto himself. We have to come together as a nation, as a people. This is a great nation in chains, chained by ineptitude, chained by corruption, and chained by stupidity and naivety. I call the Suharto clan patriotic kleptocrats because after stealing from the collective patrimony of the Indonesian people, they invested in their own economy. Ours, it's about primitive capital accumulation. We steal so much as if stealing is going out of passion. Some have stolen so much that even if you extend their shelf life to 300 years, they may not exhaust what they have stolen. So that's the sorry state of affairs in this country, and we have to change. We are at our nadir. There is no option than for us to rise. And we have to give it to Muhammadu Buhari. He has done his best in terms of infrastructure. We are in some sort of a time capsule. And our problem is not a debt issue. Our problem is a revenue issue. That's one fundamental thing that my elder statesman, former deputy governor of Lagos, Femi Pedro, can attest to. The highest budget we have ever gotten was $31 billion. That was under former President Jonathan in 2013 or thereabout. And what was the budget performance? Less than 50%. Let us compare equals. Brazil, with a similar population, had a budget of $656 billion with a performance of 90%. So we have to wear our thinking caps, think outside the box, come with robust solutions. We have the intellect, we have the capacity. Let's get the right people. Security-wise, yeah, we have.